why families in Britain are struggling to put food on the table.
Yeah, lots coming up. First, though, our top story here this morning, and he was known as the Uncatchable. But this morning, the Chad military is claiming that its troops have killed the Al-Qaeda commander behind the Algerian hostage crisis. The head of Chad's forces claims his soldiers destroyed a terrorist base in the Ifagas Mountains in northern Mali, where Belmokhtar was hiding out. Sky's Foreign Affairs editor Tim Marshall reports.
If confirmed, the death of Belmokhtar will deprive Al-Qaeda in North Africa of one of its most ruthless and battle-hardened leaders. Belmokhtar is thought to be behind the attack on the Algerian gas plant in January. Dozens of foreign hostages were killed during the battle to free them.
The
Chadian military forces intervening in Mali have totally destroyed the main jihadi and terrorist base in the Ifagas mountain region. Many terrorists were killed, among them their leader Mukhtar Belmokhtar.
Reports of his death follow the funerals of Chadian troops who've been fighting in Mali alongside French and Malian forces. And this news comes after days of fighting in the Adrar de Ifagas mountains in Mali. Belmokhtar, a veteran Algerian jihadist, is said to have either died in an airstrike earlier this week, along with dozens of his fighters, or at the hands of a Chadian assault. Details are sketchy.
His elimination may ultimately result in the criminal enterprise suffering a blow, it being blunted. But he has followers, he has supporters within the group. So for every individual captured or killed, there are at least another 5 coming along the assembly line. They may try and carry out attacks in his name in vengeance for it.
Coalition troops have been pushing the Islamist fighters further north and east ever since the fall of Timbuktu. The Chadian president had already hailed the death of another Al-Qaeda chief, Abu Zaid.
Since the start of the war, for the first time, our soldiers have killed the 2 main jihadist leaders who are located in the north of Mali, including Abdelhamid Abu Zaid. The war is not over. The war is not over, even if the enemy has been put to flight.
Belmokhtar has several wives, at least one of whom is Malian. That allowed him to forge links inside northern Mali. He operated there with impunity until the recent French-led intervention. There are other senior Al-Qaeda leaders in the region, but if Belmokhtar has been killed, it'll be another sign that the Islamists are suffering significant losses. Tim Marshall, Sky News.
Well, let's discuss this further. The journalist Nabila Ramdani is in our central London studio. A very good morning to you, Nabila. How significant a move would this be if it does prove to be true that this man is dead?
Well, indeed, if Belmokhtar's death is confirmed, then the French are very cautious about, any confirmation, even though they're putting out the message that they're carrying out DNA tests. My view is that it would be a major victory for not only the French who have militarily intervened in Mali by, offering immense firepower, but also for local African troops. And the idea being that the job is being done to fight Islamic terrorism in that part of the world, which the French president very much sees as the new theatre in the war on terror. So in terms of, the war on terror is as much about media perception as it is about success on the ground. So the killing of a major Al-Qaeda figure, a classic Al-Qaeda figure, would come as a huge boost, but also a major setback for Islamic militants.
And of course it comes just days after similar reports about another leader, Abu Zaid, have come in, suggesting that this campaign is really having some success.
Well, yes, indeed, and that's very much what the French and indeed the West would want to put out. That's the kind of message that they would want to put out, that not only they are gaining some ground in the fight against Islamic militancy in Africa, but that they are very much helping local armies to do so. So the idea is also to say that African armies are also being successful in doing so. And remember that the French are very cautious as well about not staying in Africa for too long. They are gradually pulling out their forces, leaving the work to be done by African troops, and that's part and parcel of the operation. But it has to be said that increasingly the fight against Islamic terrorism has more to do with air power than troops on the ground, and I imagine that we are dealing with obliterated bodies, and it will take a while before any body can get anywhere near carrying out DNA tests, as the French are saying they will do.
Well, yes, so symbolically important perhaps for the forces fighting this campaign, but realistically, these men have many followers, don't they? Isn't there just the risk that someone else steps up and takes over that leadership, and no real progress to damage Al-Qaeda has been made?
Well, absolutely, and especially a figure like Belmokhtar, who's been involved in Islamic jihadism for more than 2 decades now. This kind of report will get an awful lot of publicity. It will be broadcast around the world, and it inevitably will inspire young radicals who will see a death in action as a source of inspiration, and indeed will see Belmokhtar as a martyr figure, and will be inspired to follow in his footsteps.
Nabila Ramdani, thanks very much indeed for talking to us this morning.
In other news this morning, David Cameron insists that he won't lurch to the right after his party was beaten